Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, episode 3. It's very loud, windy, and rainy right now, so I'll avoid, I guess, going through the intro and mostly the recap here, but basically Ava Beatrice is abusing her power, or I guess utilizing it correctly, however you want to see it, against Rosa, just straight up. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, please watch the previous video, but no, she's continuing on with the ritual. So let's read on and I'll continue the recap if there's anything else to really recap once it's a little quieter. For a while, the witch became intoxicated with how terrible and wonderful the power she had inherited was. Her laugh was pure, innocent, and cruel. Oh, perfect. There we go. All I needed to do was read like 2 lines. No, okay, so yeah, Ava Beatrice has made it very clear in one easy move that she is continuing on with the whole ritual here. The game will go on. So it's time for the second Twilight, which involves 2 people that I guess are, you know, either family or loved ones or whatever. Yeah, they're gonna die. So Rosa and Maria seem to be the prime picks here. Even though Rosa had been revived, she let out a cry of anguish at the pain from her fall. At this point, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so she got thrown up into the air as if gravity didn't exist, and then gravity did exist, and she plummeted and big ol' splat. So yeah, that you know, there we go. It's the whole endless idea, right? We've seen it before. We've seen it with the vase. We've seen it with Battler. It's, well, we also saw it with the OG Beatrice as well, in a really weird twist in that big-ass shonen showdown, or whatever you want to call it. But at that point, the witch landed and held out her hand. Yeah, they really can. Yeah, I don't know. I think I appreciate, like, you know, our Beatrice's laugh a whole lot more. This one just sounds awful. Like, yeah, it's annoying, and so is Beatrice's, but this is just bad. Like, it's just really bad. What were those dreams you told me about when you were a kid? Go ahead and tell me all of them without holding back. As I am now, I can make anything come true, no matter how absurd. Even drowning you in a sea of jelly, even having you get sucked into a mountain of cake. I can even make you sprout butterfly wings and flit around the garden, okay? I'll do them one after another. Let's start with the ocean of jelly, alright? Damn, she's really doing it. Rosa was once again thrown high into the rainy sky. However, the sky wasn't filled with raindrops, but the drops of orange juice. When she looked down, Rosa had to doubt her eyes. The rose garden had disappeared, and the ground spread out beneath her was like a pastel-colored jigsaw puzzle. Excuse me there. It was an ocean of jelly, like the one she had spoken of from her dreams when she was young. The black part was coffee jelly, the red was strawberry, the yellow was pineapple, ugh, and the green was melon. What was the white part? Apple? Did Rosa even have the time to think about, or to think stuff like that? Rosa fell towards that multicolored ocean. This is a really weird way to torture somebody. Like, I think it's pretty, like, in style of Beatrice just being very twisted in general, but this is a whole different type of twisted. It's strange. And she sunk deep into a purple grape-flavored sea. It really was an ocean of jelly. It had no bottom. As Rosa sank, she was shocked to see a school of transparent fish swimming through the grape jelly ocean, and they were probably made of grape skin. Then she sunk on, deeper and deeper, as the Marianas Trench, crushed by the water pressure of the jelly ocean as her ribs snapped and her spine snapped. In the end, she became a small, frail meatball. Oh, there's a familiar laugh. And then there's that. Yeah, if you thought Ava was annoying and terrible, like I always did, well, yeah, this is gonna get really hard to get used to. The instant I snapped my fingers, the meatball that had been Rosa was launched up into the sky and repaired. And after being wrapped up in a golden sparkle, she returned to her original form. It was as simple as easy as returning dried seaweed to its original form, and anyone could do it. If they were a witch. That absent-minded look on Rosa's face has to be the joy from having the dream she gave up on as a child come true. Definitely. Probably. Oh yeah, totally. 100%. Next is the mountain of cake. In an instant, the sky was covered and became black and white in the shape of a chessboard. That almost transparent white part was her favorite rare cheesecake. The elegant black part was a slightly bitter gâteau au chocolat, whatever the fuck that all said. I usually read ahead, but for some reason I didn't. And whenever I got to that, I regretted everything. That became the ceiling, became a mountain, and several billion cakes were thrown down towards Rosa. If you piled those cakes up, they would surely be taller than Mount Everest. So they probably weighed, I'm not too sure, but I'll bet it was heavier than all the cakes across Japan put together. It's not about the weight, it's about the mass, alright? It fell down like a ceiling and swallowed Rosa up. So as a very, very natural result, Rosa was crushed to death. In less than a second, her bones broke throughout her body and her insides were all smashed and forced out. Squish, pop, slop. Those noises exactly. Even so, an even greater number of cakes piled up on top, and Rosa ended up as a layer of jam wedged between them. She became as thin as a single hair, and was probably spread out over the area of a tennis court. That world swallowed up by cake was once again absorbed by a gold flash. And welcome back Rosa yet again. Then, as though it had all been a dream, Rosa was revived once again. Of course, it definitely wasn't a dream. She had been revived after dying. By that point, death, which most humans only have to experience once after they are born, had already been experienced repeatedly by Rosa. In other words, she'd gone through that which humans cannot, the precious experience of dying more than once. Okay, I don't want to hear all that. Again, I don't want to hear all that. Laughing innocently, she pointed her gold staff at Rosa as she begged for mercy. When she did, Rosa glittered gold and rapidly began to shrink. What's going on now? She shrank down to the size of a real butterfly. Then gold wings sprouted from her back and she joined her fellow gold butterflies. However, while a human body could withstand that wind, it was a different matter for a butterfly's body. The gold butterfly Rosa was invited to dance by each gale of wind, and she spun in circles around the rose garden. As her dance wore her out, she was caught by a gentle bed. It was a soft knit hammock in the shadows beneath the roof of the arbor. I don't know if that was, I don't think that's what that is. The owner of that hammock lumbered into view, welcoming its rare guest who had wandered in on the night of a storm, That owner, which should have been small enough to crush in the palm of your hand, now looked as big as the top of a canopy bed to Rosa. Hello, giant spider. Or I guess regularly sized spider. Or whatever that was. Yeah, there we go. What a weird that's a weird way to pass time. These gals had some really twisted youths, didn't they? Again, don't really want to hear all that. But yeah, we'll listen to all this. This is good to listen to, I think. And they really gave a script to someone and was like, yeah, read it like this. Yeah, among other things. Yeah, that's the wicked laugh we're all used to. I don't think he does.
もう止めろー。何が楽しいんだよ。おかしい。てめえおかしいぞ。こんなことをして何が楽しいってんだ。
あんなに楽しそうじゃないかよ。無理もない。魔法は楽しいもんな。思い出すよ。わらわも魔法が使えるようになった時はすっごくはしゃいだもんさ。
I mean, curiosity is such a thing.
わかるぜわかるぜ。あのはしゃぎっぷりが心の底からわかるさ。この喜びや感動。バートラには共感できないんだろうな。ああ、残念残念。バートラだって、わらわを認めればいつだって魔法を教えてやるぞ。人間の束縛を逃れた瞬間の喜びは筆舌に尽くしがたい。そなたに教えてやりたいよ。あの喜び、あの感動。そなたの生み出す魔法の世界もぜひ一度見てみたいものだ。楽しくなってきただろう。
It is?
魔法が使いたくなってきただろう。魔女もなかなかに楽しいものであるぞ。そなたには特別に教えてやる。一緒に空を飛ぶ喜びとか、一緒に海を潜る喜びとか、人間の制約を超えた瞬間に知る世界がどれほどに広かったのかという感動をそなたにも教えてやる。そしたら楽しいだろうな。
This is actually kind of interesting. That is, like, I don't really know how to describe it, but the way that Beatrice is kind of talking about this, it feels a little less like she's egging him on. Like, yeah, she definitely is still, but more so like she really wants to do these things. Like, there's a sense of like I don't know, you know? There's something else in there that I'm feeling here. There was no malice in Beato's expression. Yeah, there you go. It was hard to believe, but she was genuinely enjoying this cruel show. And she wanted to share that appreciation with Battler. Battler was shocked by that hopelessly different sense of values. Yeah, 100% on that one, brother.
ワルギリア、このおかしな茶番を止めさせるんだ。どうすりゃいいんだ。
私たちは番外の存在です。盤上には触れられません。
Virgilia shook her head apologetically. Her body had already been killed. Did that mean she couldn't interfere in any way? As Beatrice continued to look amused in an insane sort of way, Battler lifted her up by the collar and yelled at her.
やめろやめろやめろいい加減にしろ魔女めあれがエヴァおばさんだってのかありえない俺の知ってるエヴァおばさんは確かに意地悪なとこも少しはあったけど
A bit mean, huh?
こんな残酷なことをする人じゃ
I don't know about all
断じてあり
that.
えない
She's kind of a bitch, actually. Like, all the siblings are pretty bad in their own sort of way, but I don't know. Ava and then Rosa, I'd say, take the cake.
全てお前の前
Like,
か
they're
した
actually really fucked people.
ローザおばさんをもてあそぶなエヴァおばさんをもてあそぶな今すぐこの茶番を止めさせろ
だからローザと遊んでいるのはもうわらわではないというに新しきベアトリーチェだというに
Actually, now that I think about it, Rosa's had a hard-ass time recently. At the end of episode 2, she was getting tortured here, in this very location. And now she's getting tortured again, but it's technically by a different Beatrice, and it's in the scope of the story.
そんなにギャーギャーわめくほどに残酷かそなたもこういうの実は結構好きだろうが実はちょっぴり魔法に興味を持ってきて
Oh, what's going on here?
何をする
For the first time, Battler slapped Beato's cheek? Beatrice didn't know why he had done something like that to her, and a surprised expression rose to her face. Battler especially couldn't forgive that expression, and he roared.
ああこれが面白いだお前の頭はどうなってんだ
A lot.
死ね頭を輪切りにしててめえで覗いてみろ絶対に中身がごっそり抜けてるぜ今すぐやめさせろこの悪趣味な茶番をやめさせるんだ俺はお前を許さないよくもこんな残酷なことをお前のこと少しでも笑えるやつだと思ったこともあったがお前はただ残酷なだけの怪物だ
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, actually. I'd say Beatrice is actually pretty fucked up, too.
俺の前に現れるな二度とだ
That endless witch shit is pretty
お前
crazy.
と話さないお前の顔など見たくもない聞こえたか俺の前に現れるなお前なんか消えてしまえ
What's happening here? The instant Battler screamed, the power that resisted the witch became a red wall and knocked Beato back onto her butt?
なんだというのだ面白い見物ではないかよ
It's pretty weird. It's kind of a weird fucking thing we got going on here. She spoke defensively, but the target of those words, Battler, was no longer there. His figure had suddenly disappeared into the darkness. But Beatrice looked displeased and continued trying to explain herself.
そりゃ確かにちょっとあれかなとは思う
I feel like you are, though.
こんなの無邪気ないたずら程度であろ
The fuck?
どう殺そうが結局は生き返らせておるではないか人間は終わりさえ良ければ何でも良い生き物ではなかったのか
We say it is what it is, but we're usually just joking to try and get through the fucking day. God damn.
のうお師匠様そこまでへそを曲げられるものでもある前に
She was hoping for approval, but Virgilia simply faced her with an indifferent expression. To Beato at that moment, even an exasperated look would probably have been better.
私から特に言うことはありません。あなたが楽しいと思うならいつまでも見続けていると良いでしょう。終わったら呼びなさい。それまで私も姿を消します。
Damn. Beatrice, you're running out of friends here. Following Battler's lead, Virgilia vanished into the darkness. What's Renove gonna go and do? If he's around, that is. Beato, who was now completely isolated and didn't have a clue what was going on, felt that they were making her out to be the bad guy. She is. She is the bad guy.
なんだよ面白いショーじゃないかよ
No, it's weird.
ちょっと
Every bit of it is
アクシ
actually
ョンかもし
fucking
れないけど
insane to actually fully
割と
enjoy.
面白いじゃないかよなあロノウェあそこまで怒るほどじゃないよな
お嬢様の面白いがバトラ様にも面白いとは限りませんよ。
わらわは
I mean,
嫌われておるか？
yeah, kinda.
そりゃ確かに対戦相手だから敵同士ではあるが、座興笑い合いのほどわらわたちは不仲だというのか？
I mean, what, like a video or two ago, they actually like applauded together.
バトラと一緒に拍手
Yeah,
で
there
き
you
たの
go.
に一緒にゲラゲラ笑い合えると思ったのに、その程度のことすらわらわは拒絶されるというのかよ。魔女だと認めぬのはいいさ。それを競い合うゲームなんだから。でもよ。
The fuck kind of face is that, Beatrice? Damn.
無視はいくらなんでもないだろう。わらわはそんなにも嫌われ者なのかよ。
これまで
Honestly,
お
Beatrice
嬢
is
様は
pretty
十分に嫌われ
goddamn
るだけの
bipolar.
察してをいたしました。
Can we kind of agree with that here?
悪魔の私です
Like, she
ね。
really jumps back and forth
気
here.
持ちが少しは分かろうというもの。それが理解できぬのはお嬢様が特に鈍感が過ぎるのではないかと。
うるさいうるさいうるさいうるさい。お前も消えてしまえ。
はい、かしこまりました。
It's actually probably what he
失礼
wanted.
いたします。
Alright, Beatrice. You got your isolation now. Even Renove hid himself in the darkness, and Beatrice was left alone. The only one in the rainy rose garden. No one ever plays with a lonely witch. And the fact that no one ever does is what makes them a lonely witch.
なんだよ。なんでわらわと誰も遊んでくれないんだよ。
Oh, I don't know.
こんなに
It's
わら
probably
わは
that twisted
変かよ。
personality. And yes,
残酷かよ。
you really are that weird, and you are cruel.
誰か返事しろよ。
I mean, we can all agree that, yeah, she's not really a good person. But we can also see that Beatrice is slowly changing, I think. And we're probably going to see this more and more as the episodes go on. But she's getting acclimated to the fight against Battler. You know, seeing him as an actual opponent, but somebody that she probably wants to be around, even if they are enemies.
次は何をして遊ぶ？もちろんマリアも一緒に遊んで
Oh
あげるわ。
no. Oh no, no,
みんなで
no.
仲良くお散歩しよう。煮えたぎるチョコレートの鍋を泳いで、ケーキ膨らむオーブンの中をピクニックしよう。
It's crazy because everything that's going on here. You done? Everything that's going on here is, again, probably not at all what's actually going down because we know where Ava is. This isn't Ava. This perspective that we're given it's false. This isn't real.
の新しきベアトリーチェ。
Behind the witch that was continuing her mad banquet, Beato showed herself. That expression was very rare for her. It was somehow restrained, unreliable, miserable.
これは仙台ベアトリーチェ様、ご覧くださりましたか？魔法の力は本当に素晴らしい。魔女に生まれ変わることができたことを今ほど楽しいと思ったことはありません。まるでいつまでも終わらぬお遊戯の時間のよう。
Yeah, I guess that is one way to put it, huh?
さあ、仙
Totally.
台様もご一緒
Oh,
に遊
you
びま
want
しょ
her
う。
to join?
その前にちょっとお待ちになってくださいね。二人はオーブンの中で焼け焦げて死んでしまったからまた蘇らさないと。まるでイーストで膨れるパンみたいに、オーブンの中で膨れるクッキーみたいに。
話を聞けというのに。そのだな。第二の番の生贄にはもう十分であろう。確かに殺し方については指定がないが、それ以上もてあそぶことはあるまいに。
I mean, this is technically her game now.
何をおっしゃいます仙台様。さっきロノウェイから聞きましたよ。仙台様の魔法はもっともっと素敵で残酷でやりたい放題だったって。6人のお腹からお菓子が溢れ出すハロウィンパーティーなんて
Yeah, that did happen.
ならば私はアリスのお茶会を演出しようかしら。 何でもない日を祝うお茶会にみんなを招待して、私が魔法で次々おもてなしするの。先代様みたいに素敵にできるかしら。個性的に残酷にポップにキュートにできるかしら。
Hey, let's not make that facial expression there.
今思うと
That
お
one's
とぎ
better.
話とかってどれ
I
も
mean, it's not
残酷
much
でしたよ
better,
ね。
but it is significantly better than whatever we just saw.
そのおとぎ話の魔女に自らがなってみて、ようやく理解しました。
You know what? Her laugh reminds me of somebody just reading out laughter. You know what I mean? Like, it's basically me saying, ha 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 ha, instead of, actually laughing and losing my shit. Like, I don't know. Like, whatever. It's annoying regardless. It's actually awful.
先代様が何をおっしゃってるのかわかりません。でも一つだけわかります。今の私がどれほどを尽くしても先代様の残酷さには到底及びません。
Yes, continue to hold her to a higher standard.
もっと頑張らなくちゃ。もっと残酷になって立派な黄金の魔女にならなくちゃ。
It's gonna take like 5 hours for the second Twilight to finish, isn't it?
とにかくわらわの先代としての命令だ。第2の番はもう十分だ。わらわが少し手本を見せる。下がって見ておれ。
はい、先代様。どんな無残で残酷でおぞましい殺し方を見せてくれるのか楽しみです。
The new witch grasped the sides of her skirt and gave a graceful bow, stepping back as an expectant gaze rose to her face. She was expecting an even more cruel magic that surpassed even herself.
まあ、そうだな。そういう殺し方しかできないうちは半人前なのだ。わらわが上品な黄金の魔女らしい殺し方を見せようぞ。
Alright, let's see the master at work. When Beato waved her pipe, 7 colors of smoke poured out, reviving Rosa and Maria. Compared to how the new Beatrice had done it a short while ago, it was slightly gentler. It was probably gentler than how Beato had done it herself up until now. Well, yeah, she has to... She's basically teaching right now, right? She doesn't want her to be as cruel, you know? And maybe this is a wake-up call to Beatrice, right? Like maybe this was always a bit too much, and she herself didn't realize it, but now that she has, well, here we go. I mean, cruelty is still cruelty. You know, can you really be more cruel than one other? Rosa's consciousness had already grown dim from the pain of so many repeated deaths. But even so, she pleaded that her daughter be spared.
許して、せめてマリアだけでも許して。
すまぬ、我が弟子が少し羽目を外しすぎたようだ。許せ。
Yeah, this is all out of her hands now. But here's the thing, Maria, like you were so enthralled with Beatrice, the idea of a witch with the sacrifices and everything. And for 2 episodes, yeah, she actually wasn't chosen as a sacrifice, but here now she is. And she always could have been. When Maria realized it was the real Beatrice, she jumped onto her. Things may have slightly changed. Now she's just Beatrice, the witch. The witch that was golden at one point. And also named Beatrice. A swift and painless death? I'll give you a quiet, sleep that will never be disturbed again. Beato embraced Maria with a loving expression on her face. Then softly a red bruise appeared on Maria's neck. It was a very gentle bruise. This is kind of how Kanun and Shanun kind of went out, right? Its redness grew bit by bit, and when it distinctly formed itself into the shape of a hand, Maria's neck tilted suddenly. Okay, maybe... Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily the same way that those two went out. Peacefully, as though she had fallen asleep.
Maria.
Yeah, you guys are dying.
すまぬ。そなたが第二の番の生贄であることは謝らぬ。そういう運命なのだから。しかし、その捧げ方が悪趣味であったことは謝らねばならぬ。これが最後の眠り。もう二度と妨げられることはない。
Beato softly, gently lifted her finger as though touching the empty air in front of her nose. When she did, a light breeze lifted up, making Rose's body dance lightly like a feather. And then Rose's body floated softly, and right there was the garden fence with its spear-shaped prongs. I'm actually a little confused. Ooh, I did not want to see that. But I am a little confused here as to why Rosa actually did not recognize Beatrice here. You know? Like, or, I don't know, even in episode 2, I think somebody in the comments may have said that there may have been like a little subconscious realization with Rosa seeing Beatrice back in episode 2. But here there was nothing. Maybe it's because the focus was so much on the fact that she was dying over and over and that Maria had just died. I don't know. The spear of the fence pierced Rosa's medulla oblongata. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how to fucking, you know, say anything, especially when it comes to the very specifics of what makes up a human body, benevolently without toying with her in a single blow. Rosa's life was snapped out. Compared to the earlier innocent yet cruel events, it seemed to be over much too fast. Innocent? It just looked like a doll shaped like Rosa was leaning against the fence. But she had passed away. Well, now the stakes have to be used as well, right?
まあ、ざっとこんなものよ。
Beato acted proud, but the new witch wore a blank expression almost as though this was an anticlimax. Then she said it out loud.
なんだか地味です。ロノウェイに聞いていた先代様のそれとは随分違います。
そのだな。魔法は上品に使わねばな。あまりその品がないのはエレガントではないのだ。
せっかく素敵なことが無限にできる魔法なのにつまらない。
これ愚痴るでない。黄金の魔女の道は一日にしてならずだ。そなたとて第10の番を終えるまでは半人前よ。
Yep, get to more killing.
今は黙ってわらわの指導に従うのだ。良いな。
Is the idea that elegance has to be used to some degree in order to, like,
返事は
twist it into, like, a realistic fate?
はーい。
それでよい、それで。
And what I mean by that is that, okay, again, remember, this perspective that we're seeing is all false. This is all fake bullshit that we're watching right now. But this has to be somehow twisted into a realistic scenario.
まあ、まだ復活
If
の儀式の
Rosa's,
先
you
は
know,
長いぞ。
if she drowned and she's just lying here and her freaking body is filled with jelly or cake or whatever, then it's really going to raise some questions. But that wouldn't happen in, you know, in reality,
あ
right?
と5人も殺さねばならないからな。あまり
There would be a
もてあそばず
disconnect. That could not have happened.
上品に少しあっさりめでいいからな。ロノウェがそなたに教えたわらわのやり方はその悪い例だ。模範にしてはならぬ。よく心に刻んでおけ。
はい先代様。
良い返事だ。ロノウェ、煉獄の7姉妹よ。いでよ。
Yeah, they have to get the sisters involved, right?
お嬢様、 炉の上、ここに。
傲慢のルシファー、ここに。
これまではだな、わらわもいろいろ派手にやってきたわけだが、
A little flashy.
まあ黄金の魔女としての威厳も大事であり。
I wonder. I mean, these stories that are being told, they're told by Beatrice. She can self-insert herself however she wishes, right? Because these scenarios are all made up to try and cover up the truth, right? So this Beatrice, the way that she's acting right now, is probably due to how Battler was acting on the outside of the story. I mean, it has to be. Otherwise, there's just such a gap between the coronation or whatever the fuck of there being a new, I guess, successor of the name Beatrice to now. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. As Renove laughed at Beato's uncharacteristically flustered speech, he summed it up for her.
かしこまりました。以後は黄金の魔女の名にふさわしい気品に気をつけるようにいたします。煉獄の七姉妹もこれまでのような悪ふざけは改め、以後は最短の手順で任務を遂行
I
する
feel
よう
like this is going to end extremely badly
ということ
too.
でよろしいですか？お
つまりはそういうことだ。みんな肝に銘じよ。よいな。
はい、かしこまりました。
わらわが言いたいのは以上だ。もう引き上げてよいぞ。
かしこまりました。それでは失礼いたします。
失礼いたします。
Well, wait a minute. Don't you have to, like, impale the two? Like, two of the stakes have to actually impale the bodies, right?
わらわが言いたいのはそれだけだ。それでは引き続きしっかりな。黄金の魔女らしく貫禄を持って。
Or are they going to step away from that form of
頑張る
killing?
がよいぞ。そな
This
た
is a different Beatrice
見守
now,
っておる。
but the game is all the same. Acting awkwardly until the very end, Beato left that message and immediately became a cloud of gold butterflies hiding her form in the empty air. Maybe it would be more accurate to say she vanished in a hurry because she couldn't keep up the conversation. After that, all that remained was Maria's corpse, lying down and pounded by the rain, Rosa's corpse propped up by the fence and staring up at the sky, and the figure of the witch.
自重しろ。
Her expression looked just a little bored. Yeah, she's not gonna be doing that shit. It's gonna get crazy and ugly. There was a popping sound. That was probably her clicking her tongue.
つまんないやつ。
Yeah, she's not following any of that shit. Leaving that last sentence behind, she once again vanished into the empty air. Now, things are gonna get all crazy here for sure. But you know what? I'm very curious to see how they're gonna be seeing the bodies because they weren't killed by the sisters.
ようやく落ち着いてくれたようやな。
Yeah, she was freaking the fuck out. You know, coincidentally, whenever Rosa and Maria went outside, Hideyoshi wiped his own forehead. For a time, Ava had seemed to be having a very painful nightmare, but it appeared she'd finally fallen asleep. As promised, he still gripped Ava's hand. He thought it might be time to let go pretty soon, but he faithfully continued to hold on. Every once in a while, his hand would get tired, and he would switch between his right and his left. But even so, as promised, he didn't let go of her hand. At that time, there was a heavy knock. Ava had finally been able to fall asleep, so Hideyoshi grimaced for just an instant.
兄貴、秀吉さん、すまねえ、ローザはそこにいるか？
Oh, no, she ain't. It was Rudolph's voice. What could it be? Hideyoshi headed for the door, hiding his footsteps so that he wouldn't wake Ava. It was definitely Rudolph's voice, but just in case he opened the door without removing the chain.
なんや、ローザさんがどないかしたんか？
ローザとマリアちゃんの姿が見えないんだ。一緒にいるかと思って。
廊下で叱っとったの聞こえたで。その後静かになったからロビーに戻ったと思っとったんだが、ちゃうのか？
Now, I'm sure he would have still heard Maria out in the lobby. Rudolph clicked his tongue, excuse me. Other people could be seen in the corridor. Rosa hadn't returned for a while after going out into the corridor, so they'd begun to worry. Near the door, Natsuhi pointed at the unset chain.
チェーンは開いてますし、やっぱりバラを見に表へ行ったのでしょう。
鍵を開けっぱなして出ていくなど不用心が過ぎるな。困ったやつだ。
それより今はローザさんとマリアちゃんの身が心配よ。
Wait, the chain is set from the inside. How the fuck would you lock it if you were going outside? And it was supposed to be quick. The garden is just right outside, right?
だな。おいガキども。
The garden is like near or at least in front of the guest house, right?
確かあれはバラ庭園の真ん中の花壇だったと思います。
あの二人がそこにいるなら行けばすぐにわかるはずです。
親父、すぐに連れ戻した方がいいだろうぜ。
当たり前だ。二人とも連れ戻してお尻ペンペンしてやるぜ。
You're a weird guy, Rudolph, and I respect it.
俺がひとっ走り行ってくる。俺が出たらすぐに鍵をしろよ。
親父、俺も付き合うぜ。
Honestly, it might be the bias with enjoying Battler's character the most. You know, he seems to be the protagonist here. But yeah, you know what? I will say it's bias. And fuck that, you know? Fuck the fact that it's bias. Rudolph has got to be one of the better of the siblings. He's not a good person. None of these people are. But he's a fun guy to follow.
どうしたの？何かあったの？
No, you seem to be alive.
すまんな、起こしてしまったか。ローザさんがマリアちゃんを連れて表へ出たらしい。なんとも不用心なこっちゃ。
ローザとマリアちゃんが表へ？バラ庭園へ？
そうや。ああ、聞こえとったか。マリアちゃんはバラが見たいと騒いどったからな。
ダメよ。バラ庭園に行っちゃダメ。
Wait, why?
ローザを呼び止めて。
What the fuck? What's wrong with you?
呼び止めるもなんも、もうずいぶん前に出て行っとるようや。
Yeah, they left like 3 hours ago. It's already over.
話やで。
違うの。
There's a lot of killings out
バラ
there.
庭園はダメ。あそこには魔女がいる。そして生贄を待ってる。ローザ行っちゃダメ。
Ava cowered again, holding her head. Her complexion looked very bad.
どうしたんや。熱にうなされて何か悪い夢でも見たんか。
Well, something happened, that's for sure.
夢よね。バラ庭園で魔女がローザたちを。そうよね。夢よね。
落ち着くんや。この部屋にはわしもおる。チェーンもかかっとる。窓かて鎧戸が下ろしてあるし、銃まであるんや。この部屋はさながら要塞やで。
Yeah, until those goat guys come on in.
なんも恐れることなんかあらへん。
There ain't no protection here against the goats. Hideyoshi beat his chest, trying to calm her, but Ava's insecure expression didn't change. Under the covers, Ava kept praying that the grotesque nightmare she had just had was only a dream. So she saw all that. She actually witnessed all of that through her younger self's perspective. And here we go.
ルドルフがバラ庭園中央にてローザ、マリアの遺体を確認。
Well, I heard our little chime. Let's go read up on those two. If I can switch on over to the human side. It's weird. I have to click the witch side, then I can jump over to the human side. That is so much red on the bottom part of this fucking screen. All right, we will start with Rosa. Died in the rose garden with her medulla... Goddamn, I don't know how to say that. Having been pierced by the spear-shaped parts of the fence. If Maria's death hadn't been murder, it might have been possible to suspect an accident, excuse me. It was this very woman who became the sacrifice for the birth of the new witch. And now we have Maria. Corpse discovered in the rose garden. The cause of death is strangulation, probably barehanded. Thinking about the situation, it seems reasonable to think that she was killed after Rosa. Well, actually, no. And then her blood became the red ink for the witch's oath. Interesting. So, a little curious, why is there like a... Like, is that supposed to be symbolizing the fucking fence or whatever? That black spot that's, you know, where her neck used to be? Is that what's going on here? I didn't see that with any of the others. At least I don't believe there was anything of note with all the others. Goddamn, Kinzo, you had a rough ass time. No, that's only her. So I guess it's probably just that. But this is also the first time where I believe the stakes are not being used, starting with the second Twilight.
その後ゲストハウスに戻って応援を呼び両名をゲストハウスに運び込みました。南條の剣士を信頼できるならばローザの死因は延髄部への柵の先端部分による一つ。
The medulla oblongata. Is that how you pronounce that? What even is that? The neck?
素手による考察と
The
考え
neck
られま
area?
す。ただし悪魔の証明により誤信率は否定できません。
わらわが赤にて語る。ローザとマリアは死亡した。
No, they're dead.
死因は男女の見立て通りだ。雲にも食われておらんし、ケーキの山に潰されたわけでもない。安心せよ。
あれだけ死をもてあそび、死体が綺麗だからいいだろうって論法かよ。
Well, that wasn't Beatrice herself here, or at least our Beatrice, that did any of those wacky-ass things with Rosa. The cause of death is actually pretty much what we saw here. Where back in the previous episode, the causes of death, there was always some sort of disconnect, right? Or something like that. There were a lot of questions over how they actually died, where, how, when. But here, it's actually a pretty good A to B. I don't know if that actually is a first here.
だからあれはわらわではないというに、奴の仕打ちに比べたらはるかに安らかな死を与えたはず。
うるさい、黙れ。お前とは口を聞かない。18人しか島にいないと言い切られ、すでに8人が死んでいる以上、容疑者は10人に絞られる。その中の誰かが殺したってんだろう。あるいは事故死かもな。マリアが発作的に泣きわめき、それを泣き止まそうとしたローザおばさんは力の加減を誤って
That is
つい殺
fucked.
してしまったとか。
That is fucked, but kind of reasonable.
それで動転して
I don't want to say that's reasonable,
滑って転ん
but
で柵に倒れて運悪く死んでしまった。
I don't know. I mean, I'm not arguing, and well, hold on. Let me back up like a few steps here before I get going here. In episode 2, I was talking about how I definitely do not condone how Rosa was treating Maria. As much as Rosa pissed me off, or as much as Maria pissed me off, Rosa's a piss off too, but as much as Maria was annoying, and she definitely pissed me off, I definitely did not wish for her death. I just wish that she would shut the fuck up. Now, Rosa treated Maria pretty harshly. So I'm not arguing that, you know, people should definitely, or parents or whoever should strike children if they're, you know, being bad or whatever. You know, I'm not the one to make that call, and I don't think that's right. But that is what Rosa did to Maria. She would hurt her. And I don't know if there's cases where the parent, when striking their kid because they've been bad, accidentally injured them to a very serious point or actually killed them. I don't know if that's ever happened. I mean, there have been cases where, like, kids have died under, like, poor supervision over their parents or under their parents. Like in pools and shit, but, like, this is different. Jesus. God damn, he's still keeping this up. Battler said that without rage, but with a horribly cold voice. And that strange behavior was something Beato had noticed right off the bat. In a fight, both of them could go at each other without restraint. However, he wouldn't even step into the ring. She could feel that coldness. Beato didn't find that amusing. She thought about flaring up, but she held back. Maybe even though she was innocent and childish, she had enough sense to realize that she shouldn't pick fights.
なら姿を消した。どのへ。続きを引き継ぎ。
かしこまりました。よろしいですか、バトラ様。
Honestly, yeah.
問題のない申し出です。バトラ君がベアトの顔を見たくないというなら、それもありかと。
I mean, if Beatrice ever, you know, wanted to, you know, see a little less of Battler, then Battler would probably go away. He'd go somewhere else. You know, that's how it is.
その化け物の顔を見なくて済むなら、なんだって構わないぞ。
なあちょっと待てよ。さっきから化け物化け物と。わらわはひどい言われようではないか。
But you are cruel. Like, you actually are, like, putting yourself out there as an actual murderer.
なぜにわらわはそこまでバトラに毛嫌いされねばならぬというのか。
Because you're so insistent on your story being true that you sacrificed these people. You went out of your way to kill them.
あれらは全てわらわではなく、わらわの弟子の仕業であろうが。
別に俺はさっきのことだけで腹を立ててるわけじゃねえぜ。一番最初からだ。
なあバトラ誤解するなよ。わらわとそなたはゲームを通して対峙し合うプレイヤー同士なだけではないか。
I mean, there's some high stakes at the end of the game. Either your story sticks or your story fails.
互いに相手を苦しめる
And that changes everything for everyone. I don't know in what way, because I was thinking about this at one point. Let's say our story sticks. Is everybody still dead? Like, do we get to come back to life and like fight the actual true evil that we have argued for? Or what's gonna happen there?
勘違いするな。
If that actually is, you know, the end result that we will be eventually getting here.
魔女を認める認めないのおかしなゲームのライバルだから嫌ってるんじゃない。お前の無意味に残酷なところがどうしても許せないだけなんだ。
そりゃ連続殺人を通してのゲームだからな。多少は残酷になるのはやむを得まいだろう。
さっきのことだけじゃない。前回だって前々回だってみんなの腹を裂いてお菓子を詰め込んだり顔面を耕したり。
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up.
それに何の意味があったってんだ。
And there's more to it. You know, Kinzo being in the fucking incinerator. There's, you know, toying with Kanun and Shanun's hearts.
それはまあ
密室殺人だのトリックだのアリバイだのそこまでは100歩譲ってやる。お前は魔法殺人だと主張したいんだからそういう手の込んだ事件を起こさざるを得ないことを100歩譲って理解してやってもいい。しかしあれらのグロテスクな殺人に一体どれほどの意味があるというのか。
それはその
It's to tug at his strings. It's to push his buttons. It's to fuck with him.
そう
It's to fuck with everybody. It's to actually, you know, strike fear.
何の意味もない。お前はただ悪ふざけで死者を切り刻んで面白がっているだけだ。
Or maybe it's to also show that magic can do all of these crazy things.
それは魔女だからとか
Things that go beyond what a person,
そういうのじゃない。
even an insane person, would be capable of doing, you know, no problem at all. Because, yeah, I'm sure somebody could, you know, slice up somebody's gut and stuff candy in it and, you know, set up all these, you know, corpses in such a way to be found the next morning or whatever. But you know, realistically speaking, there's really not a whole lot of people in the world that would be able to do that. You know, just throwing that out there. It would take an insane person, but somebody really, really crazy.
ただお前が面白半分
Somebody that has really abandoned all their morals and
だけなんだ。
ethics in the world.
それはお前が魔女だからとかそういうことじゃない。ただただ人として許せないものがあるからだ。
なんだよその人としてってやつは。
例えば今回のゲームの第1の番の6人。まあじい様の黒焦げはともかく他の5人の死体は不要に死者を恥ずかしめない普通の殺し方だった。
I don't know, she was trying her hardest with Kanun.
凶器が槍だか銃だかははっきりしないがとにかく殺しの中じゃまだ許容できるマシなものだった。前回前々回の第1の番での非常識さ残酷さに比べればはるかにマシだった。そして今回
You
の
know, it's kind of as if, you know, somebody else has just been acting as the villain this entire time in this episode.
まあまあ面白かったぜ。
It doesn't have the same sense of, you know,
あれをお前
craziness
とやりとりしてる時は
that we saw in the first two
今だ
episodes.
から白状するが少しだけ楽しいと思った。自分の存在を認めさせようと必死になるお前とそれを否定しようと必死になる俺、どっちも必死で全力だ。おかしな話だが俺はお前との間にささやかなスポーツマンシップさえ感じたものさ。俺とお前は相入れない存在だが 全く理解できない存在でもないかもしれないとわずかに思えた。だがその気持ちはついさっき微塵も残らずに吹き飛んだ。
だからそなたは誤解しておる。あれはわらわではなく。
違う、俺はそういう話をしてるんじゃない。お前はローザおばさんがひどい殺し方を何度も何度も繰り返されるのを見て面白い見せ物だと嘲笑った。
She did do
それ
that.
を見て俺は深く失望した。
Yeah, the thing is that she wasn't going to step in. She wasn't. She was not going to step into the scope of the story and stop things like she did, I'm pretty sure. If this Beatrice is also, you know, connected to the Beatrice in the story,
お前が今回
a self-insert
少しはマシな
character of
殺し方を
sorts.
選んだのは
It is her story
何か
after
の
all.
ちょっとした気まぐれなんであって、本来の残酷な勝負には何の変わりもないんだと分かって、それどころかお前は残酷な死を純粋に楽しんでさえいる。俺に意地悪をするためだけに残酷を尽くしてるんじゃない。お前は本当に純粋に残酷を楽しんでいる。楽しめる性分なんだ。お前はローザおばさんが何度もむごたらしく殺されているのを俺に楽しいだろうと言った。嫌味で言ったんじゃない。それを俺にも共感してほしくて楽しいだろうと言ったんだ。その瞬間俺は失望し悟った。
That she is a monster.
お前が魔女だとかそうでないとか、俺はお前のその残酷さが許せない。そして理解できない。
But in a way that really does show that she is far from human.
魔女を認めるか否定するか
Which
と
or
いう
whatever
ゲー
she
ムは
is, she's
続け
just not human.
自ら降りて敗北を認めたりはしないさ。
She doesn't have a sense of humanity, a sense
その
of
ゲーム
morals,
お前
an
の無意味な残
understanding
酷さ
of
は
what
何
is
の
right
必
and
要もな
wrong.
い。だから俺はお前を対戦相手として認めないことにする。
God damn.
ロノウェの方が100倍増した。お前のような残酷趣味はない。あったとしても俺の前でそれをひけらかす悪趣味はない。
Plus, he does offer Battler those cookies
そうさ。
and the tea.
お前は悪趣味だ。残酷で心がなく。だから理解することができない。相手として不快だ。だから俺はお前の顔を二度と見たくない。
Wow. As Battler went on and on by himself, Beato was shocked into silence for a long time. Maybe she couldn't understand what she was being told, and this was a sign that she was doing all she could in an effort to understand. For a while, she kept switching between angry expressions, frustrated expressions, bold expressions, as though even she herself didn't know what attitude she should take. In the end, she made her face into a candid expression, as though she had come to her senses, and shrugged her shoulders as though she was tired. Okay.
なら好きにすればよい。わらわは以後ロノウェを通してゲームを続けることにする。わ
Wow.
らわが姿を見せないのであれば文句ないであろう。
とりあえずはな。だがお前の重ねてきた残酷な行為の数々を、だから絶対にお前を認めない。そのためにもお前に売られた喧嘩を俺から降りない。そして絶対に負けない。それだけだ。
ベアト、これ以上言い訳を重ねても彼の心象は変わりませんよ。後で話があります。それまで下がっていなさい。
Damn. As soon as more characters get introduced to the outside scope, or outside of the scope of the story here, the more tension there seems to be. Looking lonely, Beato turned her back to them and vanished. Battler watched, a slightly displeased expression on his face. He thought his argument had been valid, but for some reason his mood did not clear up.
あいつはバカだろ。
そうですね。バカで素直です。
あのバカはローザおばさんが残酷に殺されるところを俺と見て満面の笑みで振り返りやがった。あの残酷症を本気で俺と笑い合えると信じてやがったんだ。
The thing is, it wasn't until afterwards that she realized that she was in the wrong. But did she truly understand the
俺
reasoning?
とその感情を共有できると
She was told that she was wrong. She went into the story and fixed things up, if that's actually, you know, her going into the story.
あの無邪気な笑顔を見て俺は最低な気持ちになったぜ。むしろこれまでのように意地悪な面で言われた方がずっとマシだった。畜生。
お嬢様は友達というものを持った試しのない方です。
Yeah, I kind of don't doubt that
それどころか
whatsoever.
強く物を言われたことさえなかったでしょう。私もマダムも共に付き人。何を申し上げてもお耳には届きません。お嬢様にはこれも。
ふざけるな。俺はあいつの友達になった覚えはないぞ。
そうでございますね。失礼いたしました。
一つだけあなたに感謝を。あの子のゲームを降りないでくれてありがとう。
No, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't really have much of a fucking choice here. She spoke words of gratitude, but for some reason, Battler made a displeased face. Then, as though in self-derision, he chuckled.
魔女やら悪魔やらに礼を言われるようになっちゃ俺もおしまいだな。ゲームを再開しようぜ。もちろん手心を加えるつもりはないからな。
望むところです。お嬢様と違い私は熱くはなりませんよ。
俺の手はすでに刺したぜ。ローザおばさんが犯人で事故死と仮定すれば魔女は否定できる。ローザおばさんを疑いたくはないがベアトをぶっ潰すために今はあえてそうだと仮定する。
赤で否定を行います。
Oh, here we go.
ローザとマリアの二人は他殺です。
Okay, so maybe we can continue to argue that Rosa killed Maria if we want to go that route, but somebody else had to have killed Rosa. Or somebody killed them both.
よし、そこから始めようじゃねえか。くそ、盛り上がらねえぜ。
Yeah, it's not the same when we don't have that crazy laughter going on behind us. It's just not the same. But we'll wrap it up on this one as, you know, things are going to get all tense here. Chapter 13. Ooh, that's a good number right there. Oh, man. This, a little bit of drama outside of the chessboard, I guess you could say. You gotta love it. But, yeah, we'll wrap it up here, see how things will go down here in the story, and I guess see how things continue to go, this time between Battler, Virgilia, against Renove, and behind Renove, Beatrice, who will probably not be showing her face for a little bit. So, Beatrice stands. I hope you guys are okay. We'll get through it together. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.